The biggest resistance, not only from research, a lot of the time is because of bad people relationship. And let's talk about that today. Welcome back to PhD Coffee Time. This is the online community for you as PhD student to get motivation, peer support, and practical tips during your PhD. Today, I'd like to take a closer look at something we don't get training on very much as scientists, is our people skills. A lot of people who know me in person, they might say Vera is good with people, and I wouldn't want to brag. I can't be a best friend to everyone. Not everyone like Vera. There are sides of Vera that are not tolerable to some other people, but I would say I have invested a lot of energy trying to make things work between people. And it's fair to say that I am passionate in thinking about how I can become a better liaison between moving parts of science. Because let's face it, my PhD was interdisciplinary. I have to talk to scientists who have totally different mindset and framework when they research, and I need to communicate to everyone. So that's my strongest muscle group in PhD was probably people skills. Today, I'd like to shed light to how you could learn a little bit of people skills and smooth out all these wrinkles in your projects, because sometimes the biggest resistance coming not only from research, a lot of the time is because of bad people relationship. And let's talk about that today. Before we go into the technicality of how to establish a strong, trusting relationship, I have to visit the deeper layer of relationship. That is our beliefs. There was a coach in Clemson, and he was brilliant. If you know anything about athletic coaches, they are the people who make the teamwork cohesive and make everyone take out the 110% to make the best of that team. What I've learned from that coach is they have taught every athlete in the team, whatever you believe in, it's going to affect your thought process, your choice of word, your behavior, and the outcome of everything. For example, if that athlete is trying to catch the ball, but that person doesn't believe he can do that, then it's going to affect the person to not run a little harder, turn the shoulder, and jump to catch the ball. I'm not the athlete, so this is the most athletic I could get. When you are working in a team, and if you don't have the genuine trust to each other, if you don't believe that person is going to do everything to help the team, that creates problem and friction. Being scientists, we always try to look for evidence to prove something and disprove something. But for people relationship, we need to take that hats off and try to connect with people as a human. And I say try to, and I sound very much not like a human now. I am a strong believer that if you are trusting and believing your team, great things are going to happen. There's a fundamental importance for you to genuinely believe in your team, genuinely believe in your advisor is thinking for you in a positive light. Because remember, if you are negative about anyone and you have a negative opinion about people, that's going to reflect. It's like catching the ball. If you don't trust that you will get the ball, you won't get it. And all your behavior and all your movement is going to line up to destined failure. You have to first trust. And I talked about how you need to choose carefully your advisor in the beginning in another video, but if you already chosen this lab and this advisor, you are gambling and you need to put the best foot forward to trust all the people that you work with. And you know what? If the team fails, it's everyone's failure. No matter who is the first author, who is the second author, if I'm a part of that work, I take my responsibility. If the whole work is not good, that is also a reflection of me. With that mindset of the athletic coach, I want to convince you to believe that your PI, your advisor, is there to help you. Believe that your committee wants you to graduate and wants you to be successful. Believe that your lab mates are not your competitors. They are the troops of people that you're fighting during this time in the most difficult period of PhD. You will only look back to these people with the sense of belonging, thinking that these are the friends I've made during my graduate studies. No matter this is true or not to everyone, I know there is an advantage. The moment you believe in this, trust me, there is a lot of advantage. All these frictions of all these skeptical view of each other, the sooner you can get rid of these biases, the faster you can stick with the science of the work. I know there's a lot of lab that may have dramas, but I hope this video convinced you to see things in a different light, because genuinely, most PI who sign you as a student, they wish that you can work out, and you need to prove them wrong by failing miserably. If any of these beliefs are not true anymore, maybe this is not a program for you, and maybe you're better off not working in this lab. You might be in a toxic environment, and it's better to know early than late. Up to this point of this video, I hope you don't think I'm the naive, altruistic person. I'm really trying to make sure we streamline our research experience, spend less time guessing what people want to do. Instead, use a friendly and effective language to move project forward. I'm not asking you to be a people pleaser. I'm asking you to think carefully what to say, what to write, so that you add value to the project, move the whole team forward, and respect each other. Have you ever caught yourself Googling stereotypes on the internet? You are not alone. Most of us are taught to believe that people with different backgrounds behave in a certain way. It's convenient to have labels because we want an easy, quick fix to understand the world. However, when you are working with people, what I suggest is to remove this label so that you really see the inside, like this glass jar. If there's a label, you won't see the content inside. So instead of focusing on the label, I suggest everyone should focus on the people itself. And I don't know who needs this reminder. Connecting to a person means being able and willing and open-minded to understand this person could have different feelings. For example, the person can feel sad, angry, frustrated, overwhelmed, disappointed, or they can be excited, fulfilled, or nervous. To connect to someone is being able to show that you have understanding of that person's feeling. For example, you might be having a meeting with your coworker and that person seems overwhelmed. It will help a great deal if you can identify that feeling and suggest something that can work. For example, I see that you are overwhelmed. Why don't we set up another call for the next week? It requires you to be open to learn about that person. You must remove all the judgment and labels in order to really know someone. The more you practice with your families and friends to check in with people by asking them every day, how are you feeling today and what's happening, you're going to have a stronger muscle to connect with people and to understand why that person says things in a certain way. People relationship is like a muscle group that you have to train early on, so that when you have to take a project that needs a lot of stakeholders to agree on something, you have that sensibility to know what to say at the right time in the right way. As a general rule of thumb, you need to keep your language positive. You want to say something constructive, something more thoughtful than just saying, we can't do this, I don't think this is going to work. We all work better when people give us constructive criticism. So instead of saying things that are negative and not constructive, such as your writing is terrible, you could say in a helpful way, this draft is a start, but I believe you can improve in this aspect. For example, you may be negative in the limiting mindset. We don't have enough X to do Y. Another way to address this issue could be, how could we get more X so that we could do Y? You are so overwhelmed with work and your advisor gives you many projects, and your response could be, I don't have time for all that. That's a natural human response. But instead of addressing that in an email, What you could say is, shall we discuss the priority of all of these tasks that we have already brought to the table? That's going to open up the conversation constructively, and you're going to get a lot better outcome that is moving your project forward. Remember, I'm not trying to make you a people pleaser, but we could become honest without having the negativity at the workplace. Think about how that person can perceive it. A lot of time I have a rule, if I have criticism, I always meet that person face to face and try to say it in the best human way possible. And on email, I only write positive responses. And that way, the black and white are going to stick around. And when there is a negative complications, you're always there in person to resolve all of these misconceptions. Because maybe you are criticizing this one tiny thing, but if it is in written form, things can be exaggerated and misinterpreted by someone. So that's the rule of thumb, is write in positive languages. When you have disagreement, try to solve it face to face effectively. I'm a non-native English speaker, so in the beginning of my PhD, I do suffer from writing long emails that may not be effective enough. I actually got a feedback from a lab mate that said, you were actually rude in your email, and I have to change that right away. And I've learned that sometimes when people read an email, they don't get the full context, and you want to have this concise and self-sufficient message through emails. So I've already talked about how to write email to your advisors, but I also want to say not all the messages need to be communicated by emails. For example, some labs prefer to use Slack, and Trello also have a function that you can communicate in short messages. Sometimes you can reduce the number of emails by using this application to more effectively communicate small and trivial tasks. And when you're writing an email, make sure you are concise but polite about why you are needing the attention of this person. Be specific, and always end your email with a due date. I hope your week is going well. I need this help, and this is a document I'm attaching. In the end, make sure you say, I would like your response by this date because there is a due date for my scholarship, so I would really hope I can hear back from you by the next Saturday so I can work on your revision to submit my scholarship application. If you don't put a deadline due date on your email, there is a higher chance this will be ignored and you will be stressed about the lack of responses. So I hope these tips are helpful on how you approach people, what are the right mindsets and skills that you can learn in communicating your project effectively. So let me know in the comments what are some tips of communicating in your lab. I hope this is a helpful resource for you, and please share this with anyone who might need to see this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you the next time.